Hello, my name is Rebecca Almazan, and I'll be guiding you through CMI's System Security Plan. CMI has the potential to expand their business and earn back the trust of their customers by offering their products and services online. Given that CMI has had several security incidents in the past few years, their ultimate goal should be to focus on securing corporate confidential data and customer information while launching their e-commerce platform. It is the intent of this security plan to address CMI's network vulnerabilities and possible impact, determine confidentiality, integrity, and availability requirements, and apply defensive controls. It is the expectation that by applying proven protective measures, CMI can elevate its cybersecurity posture. CMI provides marketing products and services to clients throughout North America. Unfortunately, CMI has experienced several cyber attacks from outsiders over the past few years, including a breach of customer data confidentiality and network availability, which has cost the company millions of dollars. CMI is poised to earn their customers' business and trust back by building a safer security infrastructure and expanding their services. Currently, the company will be expanding their network capability and access for employees with wireless and BYOD policies. CMI is also expanding their scope with the customers with the advent of an e-commerce platform powered through cloud computing. While these initiatives provide a launching pad for CMI, they will pose a significant risk if not properly protected with a comprehensive security strategy. In CMI's infrastructure, the wireless network connects remote offices and users with BYOD with the internal database through several wireless access points. WAPs. Due to the number of connections, the nature of data being communicated, and the permeability of a wireless network, certain measures must be taken to protect it. As Mamie and Chapman point out, perhaps the most commonly vulnerable network infrastructure and components are the wireless access points. Wireless vulnerabilities are compounded when coupled with BYOD. Despite securing WAPs both electronically and physically, a malicious actor can connect a rogue WAP or any other device to the network. Lastly, CMI must also ensure its new cloud computing capability is secure to protect customer and company data. Before covering the different components of CMI's vulnerabilities, it's important to define confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality is preserving authorized restrictions on information access and disclosure, including means for protecting personal privacy and proprietary information. Integrity is guarding against improper information modification or destruction and includes ensuring information non-repudiation and authenticity. Availability is ensuring timely and reliable access to and use of information. The best defense for the wireless network would be to use the Wi-Fi Protected Access 2 protocol. The IEEE 802 standard provides port-based network access control for both wired and wireless devices. With 802, any user must first authenticate itself before connecting to the network. By implementing authentication, you can provide very granular access controls and even require the endpoint to satisfy requirements for patches and upgrades. As an added layer of protection, the WAP could have a built-in table of authorized MAC addresses, which would prevent any malicious actors from connecting to the network. Although a hacker might change to an authorized MAC address to gain access to the system, it is an added layer of defense that would make it more difficult. In order to have a holistic and full-fledged security solution, authorization and authentication access control measures are an essential part of the defense against intrusion. Access control is necessary for a large organization as it is a set of rules designed to determine who is granted access to a restricted location or restricted information. Authentication is the security practice of confirming that someone who is who they claim to be, while authorization is the process of determining which level of access each user is granted. A common tool to implement information access control is a VPN, which would be especially helpful to address CMI's remote workers logging in from a distance and help to protect employees against on-path attacks while using a Wi-Fi connection. A way of ensuring the integrity of wireless connections is through Kismet, an intrusion detection software which is focused on wireless protocols like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Enabling a wireless intrusion detection system would alert the IT team of any unauthorized access point connection to the network. Cloud computing can be delivered in various ways depending on the budget and resources allowed for CMI. Given that operational costs are already a concern for CMI and IT capability is already stretched, a hybrid cloud option, which is a combination of a private and public cloud, would be the best solution. A private cloud is computing resources used exclusively by a single business or organization, which can be physically located on the company's on site data center, or the services and infrastructure are maintained on a private network. CMI could also pay a third party service provider to host their private cloud. But in a hybrid cloud situation, the public cloud and private cloud are blended and work interchangeably to offer the company increased capacity without having to purchase, install, and maintain new servers that are not always needed. By utilizing SaaS, CMI could quickly launch its e commerce site without server issues or software development. Third party vendors also offer security packages and applications that act as a virtual dashboard to visualize the state of security or cloud resources, including servers, storage, networks, applications, and workloads. CMI would need to choose a provider that offers the maximum transparency of where their data is stored and how it's protected. Although the provider may have a sophisticated security architecture in place in the cloud, data needs to be encrypted prior to being uploaded to the cloud, and all end user devices need to be preliminarily protected with firewall, malware detection, and intrusion detection. User devices bring inherent risks to the security architecture because they are difficult to regulate and easily hacked. In order to mitigate risk, a strict BYOD best practices policy needs to be implemented, which would include educating employees on security risks, having mandatory password requirements, mandatory application and OS updates. Data should be encrypted, password protected, and only transferred on company mandated applications or application whitelisting. Make regular backups, web security provisions such as not clicking on suspicious links or visiting unencrypted sites, data wiping procedures and permission denial for terminated employees or lost devices, and clear accountability expectations and consequences. In addition to the security policy, BYOD can be secured by implementing dual or multi-factor authentication, a VPN, a company-provided SSL certificates to authenticate user devices, and containerization. Containerization is a method by which a portion of a device can essentially be segregated into its own protected bubble, protected by a separate password and regulated by a separate set of policies from the remainder of the applications and content on the device. When a user is logged into the containerized area, personal apps and other features not managed by the container are inaccessible. Remote access. CMI has 10 remote sites which all pose increased security risk if not managed properly. Allowing users remote access safely can be achieved by first having a thorough cybersecurity policy designed for CMI's remote sites. Remote site users should all be given company laptops with properly configured firewall settings to increase network border protection and install malware and antivirus software. Although remote users will have access to storing information on the cloud, conducting regular backups in physical drives is best to ensure data is not lost if hacked. Remote users would also connect to the internal network with an SSL, VPN. As an added layer of defense to a VPN, CMI could enable remote users to transfer encrypted data through applications with end-to-end encryption only. CMI should extend their automated password management protocol and multi-factor authentication to their remote users as well. In regards to access control, CMI needs to grant remote users the least privilege possible to mitigate data breaches and also immediately disable any orphaned accounts for employees who no longer work for the company. Old accounts could be a gateway for malicious hackers to gain access and then escalate their privileges through pass the hash attacks. The last security concepts of security training and physical security of devices and spaces go hand in hand. Informed employees can make conscious decisions about locking their devices when not in use, properly secure all workspaces, be vigilant of their surroundings of onlookers attempting to steal information and passwords, use online best practices, and be trained to spot phishing or social engineering attacks. Here are a list of CMI's possible vulnerabilities. These are just a short list of the possible vulnerabilities that CMI might have, although there could be many more. Data from the remote sites to the corporate internal databases is not encrypted. Wireless networks, wireless network that is accessible to all users and neighboring residents. Cloud computing and its e-commerce platform. uneducated employees that could be susceptible to social engineering attacks, onlooker threats, or poor cyber practices, possibly misconfigured access control settings and firewall settings, and of course, CMI's new Bring Your Own Device policy. These are just some of the controls necessary for creating a solid security infrastructure, the most prolific being employee education about cyber best practices and establishing a clearly defined user policy and BYOD policy for employees to adhere to and create user responsibility. A company's defenses are only as good as their weakest link. In this case, it would most likely be the uneducated employee, which allows a malicious actor access. These are some additional defensive controls that can bolster the previously identified controls. The most important takeaway of these controls is that they are continuous and have a high degree of automation to ensure that controls are a living part of the security infrastructure. The expected implementation time table for CMI security infrastructure is almost immediate, but may be carried out in three phases: policy creation, software implementation, and user education. Many of the solutions do not involve any overhaul of physical systems, rather, just software and policy updates. The resources for maintaining security assurance will comprise a mix of the company's IT team and leadership, employee and corporate leadership buy in, significant investment in security software, and assistance from third party vendors with specialized expertise. Thank you for listening to CMI System Security Plan, and I look forward to any comments or questions.